What's up, buddy?
What's up, buddy, old pal?
What's
You
up,
ready for
buddy?
this?
When are we not?
I know. I'm just letting you know right now, I'm so tired. I have not slept. I worked last night. So
I know.
I'm here with
You showed up.
a cup of black coffee today.
I know. We were just talking about
I
that.
was on my computer though, low-key, because I'm on my phone and like the screen is so damn small. Like,
Welcome to my world.
oh, never mind. Tell me why I was like on your screen, so like your screen was bigger than mine. And I'm like over analyzing what I look like. I was like, I can't even see what I'm doing. Like, okay, no, this is so much better. But anyways, I'm DeAndre.
I'm doing Untraveled Times. My name's Lindsey.
And my name's DeAndre.
And we are excited to have you guys back on the podcast. This is episode 3. We've just been talking nonsense already, but this feels like we've been doing it for a hot minute.
I know. It feels so nice. Like, it feels cool. Like, we literally went from 1 episode and now we're on episode 3. Like, that's really big. That's big.
This is fast. And this is great because, too, like, we were just kind of talking. Again, like, you guys are going to hear us. I'm trying to get situated. Don't mind me.
I know. Look.
I'm like trying to figure out my life. Okay.
Trying to figure out my angle right now.
I know, right? Tell me why. And we'll get into what we're going to talk about today, but we're just going to kind of like be chill today. There's not really a huge topic because I really want you guys to really just kind of see how we are. Tell me why we have so much rain.
You said so much rain?
Yes.
I know. It's crazy though, because it's so hot and so humid that all the rain has literally dried up. Like,
it's so
I know
good.
you live on the opposite side of that I live on or whatever, a whole other state, but still pretty close. But this morning when I like woke up for a little bit, it was like wet.
Yep.
I went to sleep, woke back up, and it's dry. Like, I mean, like,
it's crazy.
No sign of rain whatsoever. I was like, what the hell?
You're like, what happens? What is
no,
going
literally.
on?
How long did I actually
Welcome
sleep?
to the Midwest. Literally.
Midwest, bipolar life, and all so forth.
And people want to sit there and tell us, like, I have friends who come to visit a lot, like from like California or from other states, like down south. And like, I used to live in Florida, and we've talked about that before. Like, and it rains once or twice a day, if not every like other hour, for like 10 minutes, and then it's done. But like here, and you know, even if you're from the South or like California, LA area, like it's 90, if not it's hot all the time, or over 100 degrees. So when they come here and they're like, so I need winter clothes. I'm like, yes, it can be 80 one day and 20 the next. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Like, I've had to take so many people to like Dick's Sporting Goods or whatever.
People are always on my neck about like, you're wearing long sleeve. I'm like, look, I think it's gonna get cold later, so I'd rather be prepared to be warm, to be dressed. Like, I've been doing this for a while, you know. So
listen, this is our stopping grounds. We know what we're doing. I love this for us. Okay, so basically, I went out on a walk. I was telling you earlier off air. I went on a walk today because life is just funny. Life's silly, and also like mental health. You and I have always said before the podcast, like mental health is our primary priority in our life and for other people. So I was like, it's nice, it's cool because it rained this morning. Let me go for a walk. Let me just go get a Starbucks. Like, live in the moment. And because we struggle with living in the present, so I was like, let me do this. Let's just get back into being in the present moment. Loved every minute of that walk. Tell me why I get home and I was like, should have been walking longer. But then I was like excited because we had the podcast.
Right.
So it's like now having more things to look forward to, it's actually makes it easier to want to like be more time conscious of things.
Mm-hmm. But that also was self-care. You know what I mean? You 100%. Need to get out of your space, get out of your mind, and just you got to enjoy life. You know, you can't work your life away and always like a lot of us always want something to do in order to fill a void, something like that, or to feel like we're doing something, which is cool. But at the same time, self-care. You got to take care of yourself. So that was good that you got out and had that walk and enjoy that Starbucks.
I just finished a big project. That's what we'll say. We can edit and change things. But yes, I just finished a big project. That's been fun. So that was part of it too, because I was like, I need to spoil myself.
Right.
So I have a couple weeks off. Well, not really even a couple weeks. I have another project coming up, which I can't say anything about until after that's been released. But that's in like a week and a half. So right now we're just focusing on the podcast, and I'm taking a couple days off just from work and life because I deserve it. So some people are like, what are you doing? Why are you not doing anything? Perception, right? of like social media over having too much.
It's okay
time.
because all my friends think that I just sit around and I have all this
and
free
do
time
nothing all day,
chill or whatever. But little do they know, and that's all they need to know. Is little do they know. Like,
so
you know little for a reason. So let's keep it that way.
Exactly, and that goes into the topic I kind of want to talk about today. So I told D, you guys, like I said, we have nicknames for each other. We kind of call each other whatever. Like I said, buddy. Whatever.
Buddy oh pal.
Buddy oh pal. Some days we just call each other random shit and we're like, whatever.
No, literally. Or I'm like, bitch. Like, and then like I just want to let you guys know, like, I'm trying to watch my mouth and I respect women so highly. And I don't like think because of I just
You're
be
not
talking.
no, here's the thing.
I just be talking.
No, here's the thing. There's this thing that you and I do, and not just you and I, but like I am that person too. So we were just talking about the whole like I have more guy friends than I do girlfriends because of my family dynamic. It's mostly women. So in my work and in my other businesses, it's mostly male dominated, which is nice. I get that breath of fresh air, and most of my friends are guys. And it's funny because I also just don't care whatever gender. And I'm like, bitch, listen. Like, no, what literally. The hell? And so it's great though, because you and I said people think we're mean to each other. And I'm like, no, we're allowed, because also I know the connotation he's saying.
Right.
Because how many times you like say fuck you, and I'm like, you too.
So you got to. You just have to.
You just have. Sometimes you gotta get it off your chest. One time, I was thinking we like talked about privacy and how like certain people don't get into your world unless it's earned, or certain people in boundaries like privacy. I didn't understand until this year. I think that. Like I've been such a nice person. I let too many people in, or I let too many people use whatever they need to use to dip out.
Right.
And then I'm like, wait, hold on. And now I've been realizing, okay, no, I'm going to say no. I'm going to tell you what my boundaries are, what my non-negotiables are, and we're just going to keep it moving.
Right.
Tell me why we struggle with that.
Is that our topic for today?
Our topic for today, privacy and boundaries.
Perfect. Because as soon as you said that, I was like, I have so much to say about that. Like,
I knew you would. I was like, let's talk. And I told you that I wasn't going to tell you off air, dude. He kept asking me, what are we talking about?
But me, I overthink everything. So sometimes it's just good for me just to jump into it. So
that's why I was like, I feel like this will be a good way to kind of run our podcast a couple times.
I enjoy when people get the authentic me and not the anxiety DeAndre, because anxiety DeAndre is thinking about 50 million things and that never makes sense, I feel like. But it eats me up. But I'm working on it.
That's what we're here for. We're unraveling all the fuckery.
What do you define privacy? Like, what do you think?
Well, let me ask you, what do you define privacy as?
Okay, so I define the privacy as, like, when it comes to my personal life, just keeping things personal. And when I mean personal, I mean like to myself, and if I decide to branch out to other people, it's people that know that, hey, I want to keep this privacy and I shouldn't have to make that statement to anybody. Because if I'm telling you my information, I'm telling you basically like, I trust you, like, I don't want it to be talked about. I don't want to be talked about, and I just feel like privacy is just, it's a close for me. Because I'm like, I've always had a big family.
Right.
It's to
there we go.
Disclose things with people that you trust truly with, like it doesn't, it can mean a lot of different things, but for me, that's what my privacy is.
That's why I was like, let me just throw him some questions and see, because everyone has their own opinion and their own thought to things.
Right.
So for me, I feel like, and you're not wrong, I think that's great. I think for me, and again, we are deeper thinkers. So when we think of something, it's always another layer to it, because everything has something to it. It's not just,
you got to see how it adds to your life, or what that means to your life. I remember like being in school and like all the definitions, stuff like that. Teacher would always teach you, like, I never could catch on. Yeah, I can never like catch on, because I'm like literally thinking like verbatim of what they're saying, and like seeing how it should be applying to everybody. Yeah. Seeing how it should apply. Like, I think I've always been a deep thinker, and I always thought of like, how does this apply to me? And then like it didn't apply to me because I'm not average, I'm not better than anybody, but I'm definitely not average when it comes to a lot of things, so.
Right. Well, and look at too how like the conformity of like one thing to the other, even now, like most teachers have to change the way that they were taught.
Right.
For these kids too, especially technology. I'll never forget, sidebar, I'll never forget my, so I don't hate history. It's just not my strongest subject, let's be clear. So I love how you're floating. I love this one. You know why? Because it says your shirt green.
It goes into yellow next. Oh yeah, it goes green after the yellow.
That's probably why. This is great. That's why you're like head and then down to here. Yeah.
I wanted to be a genie in a bottle, baby.
That is gonna be the title. I love it. Genie in a bottle. Listen. Anyway, we get on tangents. That's what we do here. So
I'm just letting you guys know too. Like yesterday on the podcast, I drank wine. Today, this is clearly coffee. Like just letting you guys know.
Stop defending yourself.
I'm letting people know. Look, I will not be seeing comments about myself and be like, I'm concerned. No, you're not. Mind your business.
I'm just gonna say, mind your business.
No,
what is that? No, what is that new? There's this new trend going around, and by the time this airs, it'll be over and done with. But it's so funny. It's like Little Miss, mind your business.
No, that's literally my piece. That is my mood. That is my mood, and always has been my mood. People be like, "You don't talk to me." I'm like, "It's not you. It's just mind your business." Like,
right? Like, please try and come to me. No, history. I don't like history. It's not that I like don't want to learn it. It's just it hasn't been the easiest subject for me to retain. Tell me why. Like, I would always fail it or get a D or get a decently passing. That's what some teachers do. They just get tired of you, which is fine. But tell me why this one semester. So I remember having a conversation with my counselor, and she's like, Lindsey, you're not going to graduate if you don't get these credits. And she's like, I've heard of this history teacher. At the time, he was the football coach for the high school. And I've heard good things about him. But she was like, I think he'll be a really good fit for you. And here's why. And I said, all right, whatever. Just put me in the class. That's fine. Tell me why at the end of that semester I got an A. And I was like, oh, because of that teacher allowed technology at the time, because you can't fight the phones, because it was just like when we were in high school, the phones were kind of really just becoming a thing with the internet included in the phone. So we were only getting texts and maybe phone calls and maybe the ability to go get on Facebook or anything, if that. So he was like, you know what, let's incorporate it. And that made it fun to learn. That's the one thing, like with privacy, like how it kind of blends into privacy, where I started learning, like, you are what you allow in your space, or like what you allow to put out into your space, if that makes sense too. So like privacy to me means a lot of different things. I'm talking about privacy in relationships. That means for me, it's like the public private, like the public part of the relationship. Like no one's going to know anything until I've said it.
All right.
And vice versa. Then there's the privacy of like what you're doing in your like business life or what you're doing personally. If I want to tell you, I'll tell you. Because for me, privacy has been connected to peace. Because for the longest time in my life, I've never had privacy. There was never a choice for me to be in my own space. I always had a little one, or I always had somebody needing something, which I'm not complaining, but I didn't understand until I got my own house what it was like to be.
It's crazy how like privacy, like, I mean,
when you don't have it, man.
Yeah, like for my family duo and stuff like that, like mind you, I have my own room and all that stuff, which is my own space. But at the same time, like someone's always, I'm not concerned what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? Or what are you about to do? Or like, it's almost like the moment, like that's why I enjoy being silent, because honestly, I don't know what I'm about to do. I'm about to go outside and go get in my car and do whatever.
You're one of the people who can sit there and say you're going to be home all day, and then 10 minutes later, out.
Literally, and people would be so offended by that, and I'm just like, I don't know, like I'm literally just minding my business. Why aren't you minding your own business? Like that's my privacy, you know what I mean? Like it's not because I'm trying to hide anything, and I'm not doing anything bad, but I'm just, I
tell people, like,
I don't know,
you can ask me and I'll tell you if I want to. If I don't, it's not your problem, not your responsibility. But that's where privacy is so important. That goes into that piece. So like when I got my house and I was like, oh, this is what peace and quiet looks like.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I didn't realize I was deserving of that type of privacy. And then when I started to learn, because we're both going through similar situations right now too, we're going to keep super vague, but it's so cool to see like where I'm in situations in life where no one knows anything, but it's the most amazing feeling ever.
Right.
And it's interesting to see the thoughts of other people.
It's good for your soul too, to be honest. Like if you keep giving all that to everybody else, like what do you have for yourself at the end of the day? You know what I mean? Like
that's the part of privacy I'm learning. Like, and you like wish I would have learned this earlier, but sometimes it's all gonna happen at the right timing.
It's God has a plan and everything is set up the way it needs to be set up, and that's just that's how I've always put things. You're in the right place at the right time, where you need to be, and
right. And that's the thing.
That's what makes it more enjoyable.
100%. That's why too, like me going on a walk and not having to explain that, or me going and getting Starbucks, not having to explain the fact that I'm spending money. Like, listen, I'm going to live my life. And also too, I'm going to share it in a way that I want to. If I don't want to share, I don't want to tell you what I did. I don't have to.
Oh, I do like that. I do like that though. Cause
it's so nice.
I also feel like people always put on like what they're going through on you. You know what I mean? So like if it was about money, it'd be like, why are you spending money? First of all, I shouldn't have to explain myself and be like, because I have it to spend, because that's what always going to be my thing. Like I work.
Not me complaining to you about you getting something expensive. No, I'm kidding. I'm really.
Yeah, but no, that's not even like the context. Like different. I opened up that conversation to say something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
but hey, you knew I didn't care.
Yeah, and you even said, well, good, you've been working for it, so go ahead. Like, but at the same time, like you making a simple gesture to be like, I'm gonna go buy myself a coffee because I've been working really hard and I want this coffee. And someone being like, well, why are you spending money on coffee when you could be? That's not what I asked you. I just told you I was going to Starbucks. You know what I mean? So like, it just blows my mind. Or it blows my mind.
That's why, like, when I and too, like when you have privacy in yourself, and you are able to understand what privacy and peace go together, and then when you understand too, like the industry I work in is entertainment, this, but also the scrutiny that comes with that sometimes is crazy. So understanding what public opinion, like what matters and what doesn't matter, is so important too. So like lately, and this off air, but I've literally just been saying no so much more because it's so enjoyable having my peace, but unapologetically.
100%.
And just being like, you look like you're like, I'm an angel. Hi guys.
I'm so tired, you guys. Like,
I know. Wow. We need to get you some energy.
I'm drinking coffee right now because I have to work tonight.
You work, okay, so he works nights. So here's the funny thing, y'all. So he'll be at work, but he'll call me.
I have to. Like,
but you're so honest about it. Your boundary, but your boundary at the same time is like so great because you're like, I gotta go to work, but also you understand why you have to go, and it's non-negotiable. Like, you don't have to be at work, honestly. Like, we know that what we want to do, we've designed our life in a way, and we're designing it even now in a better way where we can choose yes or no. If we really wanted to. You got asked to pick up more hours and you didn't have to, but you're like, you know what? Why not?
But I'm moving, so I'm just like, and I shouldn't even be saying all that in there, but at the same time, I'm doing something new in my life.
And moves and things, and it's exhausting.
Yeah, I want to make
because again, you want your privacy. You want your privacy. Yes. And that's the thing. I think that's why I brought it up, because we're both in similar situations where we're both getting a lot of slack for wanting to be private and for wanting to have relationships with people that we care about or build more relationships with people, but it's not enough. Right. Like, it's almost like we're not doing the right thing, but we're doing all the right things at the same time, but also it doesn't matter.
Trying.
Yeah, trying. But see, here's the thing, like you just said before, and we always refer, literally him and I talk all the time. We text all the time. But like, you're like, I'm so tired, but I'm still here. Literally, that's the thing. Like, if you don't show up, you won't succeed.
What did I say to you earlier? I was like, I'm tired, but the world is going to keep rolling, so therefore I got to keep rolling. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. You got to
keep showing up, because here's the thing: like, the opportunities that are presented to you today might not be presented tomorrow.
That's where like privacy is kind of important too at the same time, because like for me, I have a very like weird sleep schedule, but I always get my sleep, and maybe not every night or whatever, but if someone knows that like I've stayed up or whatever, like, well, you probably should go home and go to sleep. I am not a kid. Don't tell me what I need to be doing or whatever. Like, if I'm falling asleep, almost
30s, like, don't even try it.
I'm falling asleep in front of you and like putting my life in danger, okay, I appreciate it. But just because a normal person, or what we consider a normal person, is sleeping, or when, I don't know.
Right. You're right. Because here's the thing too.
That's why I'm so private, because you're not going to tell me how to like dictate, even from me going.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Even from like me going left or right. I don't know. I'm a little toxic because I don't like no one telling me nothing. Don't tell me nothing about myself.
When I say something, y'all, but he knows it's from a good place.
I just be looking like, girl, I know. Like, but I be just, I hate being to my mom. I think my mom did it to me. She was just always do this, do that, do that. And I'm like, no one's ever going to tell me what to do as much as you told me.
Well, and
I know it all came from love, but damn, leave me alone.
But also, like, let me fall and let me pick myself back up, please.
Right.
Because
that is why we are now, 28, 27, and we're just now figuring out, like, what privacy is, like, because...
But here's the thing, though. Some people got to have that early. We're not knocking you. But we're saying we are accepting of the things that are going on because we understand that this is just when that time was meant to happen for. We're not mad about it. Like, we're mad in the moment. Like, I'm not mad that I found peace and privacy and boundaries within the last couple of years. I'm more in the sense of, like, wish it would have happened earlier.
Right.
But in the same vein, I wouldn't be who I am today without it.
Exactly. And then also, like, just be present. You know what I mean? Like, because you have, for instance, we didn't have privacy back then for a reason, for us to create the life that we want to now. Because, our goals are very, very big, they're
almost unrealistic, but they're realistic at the same time.
They're realistic, but at the same time, they're just like big goals. And therefore that takes a lot of privacy. That takes a lot of things that we didn't have back then that we have to work on now to get to where we want to go, in the future. And it's exactly where we need it to be. You know what I mean? Like,
well, and the time management, the discipline. I mean, we didn't have the choice. We both kind of were like a secondary to third, parent, guardian. So a lot of people in our lives, and we still are today. And the thing is too, like, we're in this phase too, where we're slowly able to say, wait, hi, I'm here. Let me put myself first. Let me put my priorities first. Let me put my privacy first. I don't care if you don't like it. And if you don't like it, you're not meant to rock with me in this moment.
I know.
And that's not so hard. That's just matter of fact.
Right. That's so hard to understand too nowadays, because some people take it like to the most stupid extent to where they're like,
they take it personal.
They take it personal, but at the same time, people will be doing some dumb, I hate to be so judgmental, but some dumb shit. And a friend's just trying to tell you, like, hey, that's not even like, it's not that you, serious. First of all. Yeah. And then second of all, like, think about what you're doing, because it's harming yourself and all that stuff. And that's why I'm bringing it to your attention. But they're like, if you're not for me, then what? Baby, I'm for you. I'm telling you that's crazy. That is chaotic. Yeah. Right? But
that's when you learn. That's the one thing I learned within that boundary area of the conversation, where I'm like, okay, I'm going to let you be over here. I love you. I still care. Like, that was the one.
I said what I said.
I said what I said. I'm not changing what I said. But also, if you know me and you know who I am, I know you'll come back and say, I get it now.
Right.
I've had a couple friends where I've had to literally say, I can't be friends with you right now. And it's not because I hated them or they did something. It was because I knew that they're not just willing to look at the situations that they're facing in the mirror. And they're avoiding it. And so I'm like, I can't, because I've been there.
And also, it's not your responsibility.
I already ran this time. I did my time. When you're ready,
and it's not you're good, and it's not your responsibility to be concerned about their problems on that 100%. Extent. You know what I mean? Because you can't be a part of everybody's journey. Like, everyone realizes, like, nowadays, the world is going crazy because everyone's meshing into everybody's business way too deep. You know what I mean? Like it's not your responsibility. Like, every day you should be working on yourself, and then the time that you give to other people, like friends and family and siblings or kids or whatever, like, that's okay, you know what I mean? But you have to have boundaries and limits, because you can't do it all. Do what that person is doing.
This man telling me the same thing on camera, but telling me off air, you can't do it. I'll stop it.
Yeah, well, not even you, but it's all of us. You know what I mean? I've been there before, where I
know you have.
I had a family over here, my personal family, and then I had like another family over here doing this. I'm working freaking 16 hours a day. Like, come on now. Let's be realistic. It's crazy that I'm doing that, and I'm going to say that would be what is considered realistic, but it's very unrealistic. You know what I mean? Like, you're not able to
put your mental health first.
Correct.
You're not able to sleep. You're not able to fuel your body. You're going to go to work tonight, be so exhausted because you didn't sleep.
I'm literally thinking about tonight. I'm like, I might have to work a half shift or something, though. Like, let me say that I did it, just to say I did it, but
but also let me just push through.
Yeah, I'll probably just push through. Like,
that shows your personality, because too, like, here's the thing. We have, and I tell him all the time because I protect him and I love him and he's my cousin, damn near my brother. But it's like, I tell him, I'm like, you're doing too much.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he tells me that as well. Like, But we understand because too, he's in my circle. You're in my bubble, allowed to say those things, right? So that privacy and that peace and that boundary, you've seen me at the most peace I've ever had. And you've also seen me where it's a little reckless. And then you've also seen me when I put boundaries in place, and I am a no nonsense person when it comes to that. So tell me when, that's why when I tell you, I'm like, stop, take a breath, take a beat, you're fine. And too, like sometimes we'll call each other and I won't answer, you won't answer, but because we're sleeping, we're re-energizing our body, we're going to the gym. And we forget to do those things sometimes because we're so focused on the next thing. And we're so focused on what people will think, when really it just needs to be, we need to be in our little privacy bubble. We need to be in our little peace bubble and keep it moving.
I know. And that's what I'm like working on now. Cause like the last 2 years, like I've been isolated, which
who hasn't? But also
literally, the pandemic didn't help, but like I literally isolated myself before the pandemic, stuff like that. But at the same time, now I'm like introducing myself to the world and to the people that I actually care about, and allowing them to understand a different aspect of myself and being like, it's not you, I promise you. Like, just like I told you, I was like, if I don't answer the phone, it's not you. It's that I'm trying to figure out a situation or have time to myself and not feel bad for being like, hey, I'm busy right now. Or I always feel bad. I always feel bad.
But I don't think you should. I used to also I have still friends who will call me to apologize that they didn't call me or whatever. And I'm like, it's not that serious. Like, I was just checking to make sure you were alive and you're up and around. Like, that's all. Like, I texted you today. I was like, at least he's awake. But also in the same vein, like, it's also, we shouldn't feel guilty, but also society makes us feel guilty because it's like we should automatically want to do all those things. Heaven forbid we say no. That's, I think, where you and I are at right now. We're saying no for all the right reasons, or we're not talking as much for all the right reasons. So he left, y'all. Homeboy's phone died. As we are unraveling the conversation of privacy, peace, and boundaries, it's really interesting because I did not think that it would be so important to me to have that privacy, peace, and boundaries. But when it did, it's been the best gift ever. It's so funny. My cousin, so DeAndre and I, we are really starting from the ground up and we're figuring this out. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back in a moment. Laughing. This is editing. Lindsey, if you're listening to this episode, you are going to just hear my voice. A few seconds ago, I just said DeAndre will come back into the Zoom, of which is where a platform that we have been recording our podcast. And unfortunately, DeAndre, his phone died. And we had some technology situations come up, and also we both had some life to deal with in terms of going to work and finishing some other tasks to end the day before I came to edit this podcast. And that is where we are right now. We're editing the podcast. I realized we didn't have a proper and professional ending to this podcast, and that is what I'm here to do. So if you've been listening thus far to the Unraveled podcast, thank you for listening, watching, subscribing, and also liking each and every episode we share with you guys. We continuously will unravel a lot of deep conversations. This episode we sure did, and it was a little bit shorter than most, but episode 4 that's coming out this coming Saturday is going to also be a great episode. I am glad and happy and feel a lot lighter after having talked about some of the topics we did talk about, and so did DeAndre. But we both wanted to make sure we let you guys know the immense gratitude that we feel for not only the feedback we've been getting, but the enormous positivity that we've been getting as well on this podcast. We know it's something different and something unique and it's something new, and not only that, we're unraveling a lot of hard topics that most people are too scared to talk about, while also understanding that too, it's a unique dynamic that most people would not be willing to kind of sit down together and really talk about the hard things, but that's what family does, and that's what we do. So if you haven't yet, make sure you like this video, like this podcast, subscribe down below, hit that notification bell so you get notified every single time a new episode is airing. And again, if you have not yet, go follow our Instagram. All of that information is in the description box down below, you guys. Go follow it. You're gonna love it. We are excited to be sharing other things with you sooner than later. Also, a very huge important side note, which will be listed in the description box as well. we're hoping by episode 10 to 15, we do have this podcast of the Unraveled Ties podcast on all platforms, of which where you will listen to any podcast. So bear with us, continue to just have grace for us, and we hope you have been enjoying the episode so far. If you haven't yet, if you're new to the Unraveled Ties podcast, go listen to our first couple episodes where we introduce ourselves, how we came to find podcasting, and why we chose to podcast. Most importantly, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, a wonderful evening, a beautiful month, and if anything, a beautiful ending to the next 6 months of the year. Let's all end it off on positive notes in the day, in the week, and even start the week off right. On behalf of DeAndre and I, we thank you so much for listening, watching, and just enjoying our conversations. We look forward to seeing you guys on episode 4. Again, episode 4. We're almost episode 5. That's a huge mile marker that we will be making. We look forward to seeing you guys at both those episodes. So stay tuned, and don't forget that you are awesome, and just continue to be willing to unravel anything that happens in your life. And maybe one of these days you guys could be one of our guests. Thank you so much for each and every one of you. We'll see you guys in episode 4, where we talk about more things. That's what a podcast is. I don't know what else to say, you guys. All right, we'll see you guys soon. Bye.